thing working? Hello, 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 folks. Welcome to Gamer Dude Tech Dude live video, or as known as TGM Voyager. This is my YouTube channel, and thank you for joining me. Um, I'm going to be talking about some very tough topics right now. Remember that this is a gaming tech live streaming talk show that I'm going to kind of continue to work on. And this viewer discretion is advised. This is my disclaimer. Um, what I'm about to talk about, I could get fuming about it. I can voice my own opinion. I'm going to try to keep it as low key as possible. But just as a full forewarning, um, I may I may go into a little mini rant or rant totally, because what I'm about to talk about is totally how to explain it. It's a rough situation altogether. Please keep that in mind, and please keep that as an understanding. Um, so just bear in mind that. Okay, let me do something here. I'm going to let me see. It's okay. I'm going to it's here and here, and we're gonna it's down here. Okay. All right. And let's see. We're going to try to fit this. I'm just I should be doing this before. I know. I'm sorry. Let's see here. We're gonna go to where is transitioning? Show transitions. No, that's not it. Scale. No. Oh, transform. Fit to screen. There we go. Okay. Well, I don't want fit to screen. I want to, what I want to do is stretch the screen. No? Okay. Well, it's not exactly what I wanted it to do, but okay. Why isn't it, we're gonna probably have to remove this picture. Let me see here. Why is it doing this? And why is it not putting the full picture on my screen for? Irritating. Irritating, 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 irritating. Okay, I'm gonna go to remove. We're gonna move it. We're going to re-add it. What I'm trying to do is set up the image so that it makes it easier for us. Put this down here. We're gonna go to browse. Here. That's okay. That's weird. It's gonna. Wow. Wow. Okay. Hey, that's. All right, folks. Well, we'll just leave it there. How about. Dun, dun. All right. So back on track here. Welcome to my channel, my YouTube channel. This is now I'm known as Gamer Dude Tech Dude, One-Eyed Gamer Dude on Twitch. This is my YouTube channel where we talk all things tech, talk about gaming, plus I do my live streaming, and plus we our normal talk show. And we could talk about anything in the world, whatever it may be. Again, viewer discretion is advised. So if you have young ones that are around you, please use common sense. You may want to take them into another room and whatnot. I'm going to try to stay as low key as I can, keep this as short and simple, and that's what we're going to do. So this is going to be a very touchy topic. This is about healthcare. This is going to be um, kind of like a mini rant. I want to per se, uh, and I I know a lot of you heard the same old story. I know a lot of you out there have seen the news and heard it all. And, you know, I am not trying to be one of those. I just want to get my story told and I want to get my story out there. That is my goal. And I'm hoping it will get passed along and passed along to the right people. And like I said, I'm going to try to keep this low key and I'm going to try to stay calm. So let's start. February 3rd, I lost a very close family member, my father. He died on February 3rd on 2022. He was taken to the hospital on November 1st of 2021 due to a stroke that he had. And my dad was the kind of person that he didn't like the healthcare system, and he didn't like the way healthcare treated him and my mom and myself. And I kind of understand. I kind of get it. I sort of get it. He was the kind of person that believed that he didn't need to see a doctor, that he didn't need to get help from anybody, that he didn't need to, I don't need any help. He was from the 50. He was from the 50s. So you can kind of see where the old school, and I'm sure a lot of you out there can, feel me, but he was like that old school person that didn't didn't need any, I don't need any help, that I can heal myself basically. But he's always been that kind of person that's been very outspoken about how bad our health system is, our healthcare system. Um, so where do I start? There really isn't any place I could really start except for the fact a few years ago, a long time ago, my dad was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. And then a few years later, he was diagnosed with septic shock, which basically every organ in his body pretty much shut down, which he pretty much um, came back. He's a fighter. Okay, my dad has always been a fighter, and he pretty much bounced back from what had happened to him. And it's amazing because both times my mom and me were there, and he didn't really act like he really struggled too much. I mean, when he first went in, he was a fighter and he was yelling and screaming. Of course, that's a good thing because that shows that you have life in you, that you pretty much know what's going on. Okay. So with everything that's been said and done with my father, this is the point in my time where I have to express myself and my feelings towards this and uh, get the word out there and tell people my experiences. So we go forward to February. Well, we actually go back to November 1st, 2021, when it all happened. My dad was laying in bed and was complaining that he couldn't breathe. He was having trouble breathing. So I asked him. I says, "Do you want me to call an ambulance?" I mean, of course, being the son, I know I probably should have anyway, but I wanted to check with him. And he said yes. So I called the ambulance. The paramedics, the EMT came to my house. They hooked him up. They said he was very stable, but his blood sugar was high, and that's what they were concerned about because he also had diabetes. And they thought their initial thought was the reason why your dad's not eating and he doesn't feel like, doing much because his blood sugar is way out of whack. Previous to that, he wasn't really taking his medications, and that's when I started to notice that something is odd going on with him. And I even spoke with my mom. And so the EMT came, they did the test, they did everything. They took him to the hospital. And next thing I know, I get a phone call. They're telling me your dad had a stroke in part of his brain. And there was possible some bleeding, I guess. I don't. Yeah, there was so much going on at the time. It's very vague. It's very foggy, cloudy. Um, so during this whole time, I'm going to see him for 2 months, November and December. So basically, all through Thanksgiving, all through Christmas, and New Year's. So for 2 months, he was in the hospital. I saw him just about every single day. I think I only missed like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 days because at the time it was raining here in town and some other stuff were coming up. And let me remind you that both of my parents are on Medicare. My mom was retired, as well as my father. Both worked their butts off until that age they couldn't do it anymore. And what had happened next is I get a caseworker, case manager calling my house, and they tell me that, look, the hospital, your dad can't stay at the hospital. He has to be moved somewhere. So he was taken to the very first thing that happened. It was around Christmas. He was taken to a nursing facility that was locally, not too far from my house. And what had happened was I remember this. I remember this night because I was trying to stay in a good mood. I was trying to stay in a good. I was trying to stay positive at the time, and it was around Christmas. So I take my gimbal. I take videos of Christmas lights in the neighborhood and stuff. And this is the night that he got transferred to, or supposedly got transferred to a nursing facility. Okay. So I'm in a good mood. I just got done seeing my father, and I'm in a good mood because I'm saying to myself, finally, he's getting out of the hospital and he's going to go to a nursing facility. Good. Great. I'm happy. I'm clapping. I'm in a good mood. I told my mom, you know what? It's Christmas time. I'm going to go out and I'm going to take some pictures and some videos. I'm going to come back home and then I'll keep them for a safe keep. And when I come home, when my father comes home, I will show him. So that very same night, I remember it was a very long walk. I walk back home. It was like 10 o'clock at night. I call up this nursing facility he was going to stay at. And they tell me that, well, your father was having trouble breathing. So we sent him back to the hospital. The EMT didn't even bother by taking him out of ambulance. And I said, really? And at the time I had my cell phone with me and everything. And none of you could have called me. None of you could have texted me or called me or left a message on my phone to let me know what happened. I had to call you guys and have you guys personally tell me. And a part I forgot to leave out. The first nursing facility, which was close by, he developed an pneumonia for whatever reason. And let me remind you, some of you may not know, because of the stroke, he couldn't chew or eat food. So he basically was put on tube feeding. Okay, so keep that in mind. He was on tube feeding. So he kept developing this mucus in your throat because you're unable to spit, basically. So in the hospital, they had this suctioning machine where they would basically suck out all the mucus and all the phlegm and everything. Because if you don't, you start to aspirate, and when you aspirate, that can become very dangerous because you basically drown in your own fluids. Okay, and then it also gets hard on your tongue and all around your throat and everything. The hospital did an awesome job. I'm going to give them a lot of credit. I really am. I'm really going to give him a lot of credit. But when he got transferred to the very first nursing facility, I remember the nurses were saying, "Oh, this suctioning machine isn't working properly. We're having trouble with." And that's when I noticed the day that he developed an pneumonia. So I'm thinking to myself, well, if they're not, suctioning his mucus and his phlegm and whatnot out of his throat, then he developed ammonia in his lung. So they take him, they put him back in the hospital. He was there for a, a few weeks, and then they started looking for another place, which was I started talking about the beginning before I told you about that part. So now back to the second facility he was taken to, when I did not receive a phone call. I give him a call. I says, okay, I'd like to come and visit my father, and da 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 da. And before you know it, they're telling me that, well, he was sent back to the hospital. And I was like, what? I was like, excuse me? And I'm like, you mean you couldn't tell me? You couldn't bother by telling me or calling me or texting me and tell me that my father was moved back to the hospital. Oh, well, he was never taken out of the ambulance. I'm like, what's that got to do with anything? Out of courtesy, you people or somebody or someone should have called me. Okay. So he was taken back to the hospital. And we're going on the second month here. This was I want to say December. Uh, oh yeah, this was okay. December comes by because this is all happening around in December, and towards the end of the month, uh, that's when I got a call from the case manager, caseworker, or whoever they are, or whatever they call him here, and she says we can't keep your dad in the hospital. He has to be moved. And which I understand because you have other patients and you're rotating. And remind you, this was kind of like towards the ending of COVID. Before things started, opening up more and before things started getting better. So I says, well, what are the options? And he has to be put into a skill assisted living, pretty much. Now, my dad, he was the kind of guy that, well, I don't want to give out too much information, but he couldn't afford assisted living. And this is where all this is going to lead up to. I'm just telling you what happened during the time. So she says, well, I'll see what I can do. I said, okay. She said, well, we'll find out some placement, but the problem is we're having problems finding beds. We're having problems finding capacity, and we're having issues, finding a place for your father. I said, okay, just see what you can do. So a few days, few weeks pass by. I get another phone call, and he said, "Well, we found a place for your father, but it's up in the mountains. It's in Mount Everest, 1,000 miles away from me, where I can't visit him." I'm sorry, this is like maybe one of those mini rants slash sarcasm. And I'm thinking to myself, well, look, um, when all this is happening, I've got a load of stuff that I have to take care of. You know, real life things that are going on. I'm trying to take care of that I couldn't take care of because of what's going on with my father. So I was in that position where having him moved way up was kind of like a bad thing for myself. But then she tells me, well, the hospital's going to pay for it. They're going to put him in there for 2 months until he gets on Medi-Cal. Basically, you already know that we live in California. When I say Medi-Cal, that should pretty much tell you that I live in California. So without giving any more information about that. So what they initially wanted to do was send my dad up to the mountain for 2 months and um, take care of him, get him to eat and drink again, and uh, you know he'll be able to come back home in 2 months. So I think out of the whole time I've seen him like twice, and at first I told her I said I don't like the idea of sending my father so far away. I'm gonna have problems seeing him. Unlike you know going to the hospital. And she was like, "Well, we don't have any other choice. There is no other choice. Absolutely no other choice. I was never given the decision. I was never. It was like their choice. Their theirs mattered. I wasn't allowed to be against it, more or less." And the strangest thing was when I knew that my father was going to go up there. I walked in and I told my mom that I got a feeling that if I send my dad up there, I'm never going to see him again. And at that point, I wasn't getting any support from anybody. The state, on the federal level, I wasn't getting any support. And I'm still not getting any support or state or federal help. But we're going to get to that later. And during this whole time that my father was up there, this lady, she never called me. She never called me back, never told me what the deal was with the Medi-Cal, and told me basically nothing. I was left in the dark. And me, I was too uh, involved with my own self and worried about my father that I wanted to put everything else on hold, which is natural for most people. Which is natural because, but you basically just want to just the only thing that you care about is your loved one getting better. That's the only thing that you can care. You don't care about anything in the outside world, basically. And I think that's like that for most of us. So during this whole time, I said to her, you know what? Give me some time. Let me think about it. She just said, okay. And that's the time when the big storm came and it was raining, it was snowing. So they couldn't take my dad up to the mountain. And this was just before, I want to say New Year's Eve of last year, 2021. And basically, hold on here. Okay. Basically, this all happened when it was raining and snowing, and I was able to go up and see my dad once more. I remember going and seeing him, and during the snow and everything, I remember it was raining, and I drove in the rain and everything, and I haven't driven in a while due to the fact that I basically don't have any eyesight because I got detached retina on this right eye. So I was kind of afraid to drive. I wasn't used to driving, in the rain and in the dark and stuff like that. I had to basically train myself. I'm a little different now. I'm a little bit better, but I had how it is when you're getting back out there on the road and driving again. It's just you don't feel comfortable. You feel kind of nervous and scared. Like I had to overcome all these obstacles, which I eventually did. And I remember going and seeing my father during all this time for these 2 months that he was in the hospital. My dad was in a fairly good mood. fairly decent mood. We were watching Christmas movies, all the older ones that they were shown in the hospital. I was sitting with them 3 to 4 hours at a time, and it just, it kind of became a routine with me. And every day that I didn't see him just made me kind of sad. So by going and seeing him, it made me feel better. And he seemed like he was getting a lot better, getting a lot stronger, and more talkative towards the middle and towards the end there when he was at the hospital. He kept asking me, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be all right? Am I going to, you know, and I kept saying yes. Everything's fine, Dad, and you're going to come home. I told him what's going to happen. You're going to be going up to the uh, assisted living for about 2 months, and you're going to come back home with my mom and me. And that was the truth. I was telling my dad the truth. That was, what I was told. And I remember my dad shaking his head, and it was almost like as if he knew that something wasn't right, that something was wrong. And I know my father. When you live, sons and daughters, when you live around your parents, you kind of know how they react and how they feel towards things. And I kind of sensed that my dad didn't really like the idea, but he wasn't really saying anything. Finally, it was on a pretty day. I think it was like on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. My dad gets transferred up to the mountain, and of course, I keep in touch with him. I keep talking to him, and uh, I remember like within the first week or two, I got myself a car and I drove up there, and I saw him for 3 or 4 hours, and my dad was in a really good mood. He was being well taken care of. He was the 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 people there were nice and friendly. Um, they were just, all around good people. And bouncing back to the this caseworker, case manager, during this whole time, she never bothered by calling me. I didn't even know what was going on, in fact. So just hold that thought for a few minutes, okay? The part where she didn't bother by calling me back. So during this whole time, my dad was up there, and eventually I took my mom up there, got her in the car. My mom has her own health issues, but I got her in the car. I drove her up there, and it was raining, but I got her up there, and we spent a few more hours up there. So a month passes by. My dad would have been home. Let's see, March, towards somewhere in the beginning of March. Because remember the 2 months, which unfortunately never happened. And so my dad would have been home. So what happened was my dad was up there at the nursing facility at the nursing or assisted living, what they called it. My dad was up there and he got sick. He got ill. He had a fever of like 101. He was transported down the mountain to a local hospital for about 3 or 4 days, I think it was. Boom, they took care of it, just like they did when he was down here at the hospital for 2 months. Remember I told you about the ammonia he developed? Okay, well, he came back down here and they took care of it, but it was like 3 or 4 days. They said, your dad's doing good. We're going to send him back up the mountain, and your dad is good to go. So the same night, he gets transferred back up to up to the mountain, and the nurse that was taking care of him calls me on the phone and said, would you like to speak to your father? So I said, yeah, I want to speak to my dad. Sure. Got my mom she was on there. I was on there. I could see my dad. We were doing FaceTime. And because they didn't have any phones up there or, no cell phone service or anything. Well, they did have cell phone service. I think it was only like a couple of cell, mobile cell service that you get up there. So during this whole time, uh, my father's talking to me, We're talking to my father, we're telling him, we love you, Dad, you're going to be home real soon. And that very same weekend, this upcoming weekend, the upcoming weekend when he got back up there, my mom and me were going to go back up and see him. February 3rd, I get a phone call. It was about 7:30 in the morning that he had passed away. Boom, just like that. Boom. Now we're going to bounce back to my feelings towards this. Now this is where I want my voice heard and I want my voice out there. I'm trying to find words to explain how everything went sour. And of course, I hear from the medical professionals that your dad had a lot of problems. Your dad had cardiovascular issues and this and that and blah blah. I'm hearing all this stuff mumble jumble going around. Now, I am no professional expert. I don't know anything about medical terminology. I don't know nothing about that stuff. So I'm not going to put myself in that place or in that kind of position to make any kind of assumptions. But I am going to question, and that's why I'm here. So, like I said, I'm going to try to keep this as low key as possible. I'm going to keep this as low as I can. So during this whole time, I'm thinking to myself, first I was in shock. I told my mom, and I don't have to tell you what happened after that. You pretty much know. And for this whole time, I've been asking myself, what really happened? And of course, they told me that my father had a cardiovascular issue. They don't know if he had a stroke. They don't know if he had a heart attack. They don't know. If he had a stroke, I don't know. He was on blood thinners. Same with the heart attack, blood thinners. So I must question, and I've talked to friends, I've talked to family about this, and I just can't find the words. I probably will never will. I probably never will find out what happened. As far as I know, he had cardiovascular disease, but who knows? And I keep asking myself, what happened from the time that the nurse left the room and up the time between 7 and 7:30? Did anybody go in there and check up on my father? Who knows? I don't know. And I don't necessarily want to blame. I really don't want to put the blame on the medical profession. I know they try. I know they do. But I will put the blame, excuse my French, on our fucked up system. I will put the blame on our fucked up system, our fucked up healthcare. For years and years and years, I've been trying to get my mom and dad on Medi-Cal. Now, I hope your government assholes, I hope you hear this. Sorry, again, excuse my French. Viewer discretion is advised. For years and years and years, I've been trying to get both of my mom and dad on Medi-Cal. But because, hence, they make too much money, which both of them don't, because they're both retired, but because my mom worked her whole entire life, she makes too much money from retirement and Medicare that she couldn't get put on Medi-Cal. Even though by the time they got their damn bills, all that money, they were lucky to have $200 or $300 left. But because I live in California, but because, God damn it, God forbid, if you're not making too much money to live on. That's our fucked up system, folks. This is our fucked up system, our fucked up healthcare. This is our legislation. This is the way our government handles things. But because you refused to get, and that's what I call it. You can call it whatever you want, but I call it you refused to help my parents because hence they're rich. Apparently, just like rich people, we live in a three-story house and have four car garage with a Lamborghini, Ferrari, and whatnot. Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line, government? I'm asking the government. I'm asking any professional asshole out there that's in the government. Where do you draw the Where do you draw the line on how much money that a couple make, even though they're retired, and over half of their goddamn check gets paid for bills, food, and utilities? Where do you draw the line? How does that work? I'm just wondering, how does that work? And let's bring up another thing. You spend so much money on other bullshit, but yet you cannot help an American family that worked their asses off their whole entire life in this country, and then you turn them down. And if it wasn't for these people working their asses off for you, Uncle Sam, because that's who we're talking about, you wouldn't have food on the table, you wouldn't have clothing on your kids, and you wouldn't live in your $14 billion house with a nice 6-car garage, living on chunk change, and being able to provide you and your family and your kids health care. But when we need health care, it's like, fuck you, you're not getting it. So where do you draw the line? How does that work? Please explain to me how that works. It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. But God forbid, and I'm going to be honest with you, you can build bombs to destroy other countries. You can go and walk into other countries and, excuse me for saying this, and kill innocent people and interfere in other countries and spend hundreds to thousands of dollars of American money on helping other countries out, but yet you cannot help a family like mine or anybody else that's going through the same thing. How do you draw the line? Where? Where? Please tell me. I'd like to know. Please. And this is just a mini rant. I said from the beginning I'm gonna try to hold my composure, but when I get on this subject, and it happened to my loved one, to my father, it really irks the crap out of me right now. It really gets under my skin. Because the only person that suffered here was my father. He was the only person that suffered. All because of you rich assholes that sit on Capitol Hill making stupid ass decisions. You couldn't even handle COVID correctly. And you can't even help people like my father that really needed help. And because of it, he suffered and he died. Am I right? If I'm wrong, please tell me. If I'm wrong, please let me know. Leave your comments and suggestions down below. Oh, in the meantime, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so the next time I go live, you'll be notified. Thank you very much for watching this stream. I really do appreciate you all being here. So to continue the subject, I wanted to write a book. I wanted to write a book and I wanted to get it publicized about our fucked up healthcare. But I figured we've had a lot of videos, had the movie Sicko with Michael Moore. There's a lot of, it's already been done. I just wanted to say my side of the story. Because, we all heard the same old game. We all heard the same old thing. I know all of you have heard this before. And I feel that this is a way for me to vent. I feel that this is a way for me to let the world know. Now, some of you may say, well, you seem a little upset and, you should go talk to somebody about it and this and that. To be to be frank with you all, I don't have any issues. I don't have any regrets in life. I don't have any regrets of what I've done in the past. But I am pretty upset with my government. I'm pretty upset with the way our government handles things. I'm pretty upset with the way they do things. I'm pretty upset that they don't help the average American citizen. And I'm speaking for all races. Doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter if you're brown, doesn't matter if you're white, doesn't matter if you're color of your skin. We all have the same blood. And we're all going through the same thing. Because I see the same thing happening all throughout the United States. A great, wonderful nation, a great, wonderful country, our supposedly richest country. But we spend thousands and thousands of dollars on other things, on stupid stuff. But yet we can't help families that are in need of help. We're too concerned about the money issue again, because remember, money is the root to all evil. Remember that quote? Money is the root to all evil. Money will eventually destroy this planet, if it hasn't already, with the way everything's been going on lately. So, for years and years and years, I've been trying to get help. Right now, I'm jobless. I can't work. I can't work because I'm taking care of my mom. And I haven't worked for 6, 7 years. I did have a job for 15 years, but I had to give it up when both my folks started having issues. Because I couldn't afford to have an in-home nurse because I couldn't get either one of them on Medi-Cal. So what was I to do? They didn't have the money. I couldn't hire anybody. They charge outrageous prices on top of it. Can't blame them. They want to make their money. I get it. But because I couldn't get any help, and I still don't have help, hell, I don't even get disability for my right eye. Because apparently I can see fine. Gotta love that one. Gotta love it. Because I can see fine out of one eye. So I had to do what I had to do. I had to give up my job and help my parents. So now, here I am doing these videos and these live streams. Got a new gaming PC, new capture. Well, I'm using my laptop as my capture device. And I'm going to continue to do live streams, videos, talk show, and live streaming and whatnot. Hoping in hopes that maybe someday I can make a little money on the side. Because right now, I can't go back to work the way my mom is. And she's making too much money, so she's never going to get the Medi-Cal, which means I'm never going to get assistance. I'm never going to get paid for doing this stuff. And the only thing that I'm going to get, the only gratitude I'm going to get is helping my mom. But at the same time, I have to worry about myself and what I'm going to do with myself or my life. Which, to be frank with you, I'm screwed. Because I don't have a job and I can't work. And I've been trying to find, work from home, but where are they? Where are these work from home jobs that you hear about? They talk about it everywhere, but where the hell are they? That's my question. So I know this is kind of probably a mini rant, and I know that a lot of you have heard this stuff before, and there's probably thousands of videos about this, but I felt the need to sort of wanting to kind of get my word out there and vent a little at the same time. And it hurts. It hurts as an American citizen to think that our own government turns their backs on us after we've worked our asses off for them and we sweated for them, we bleed for them. People in the skyscrapers, the people that work around in the heat on the roads, the people that are producing for this country, and our government turns their backs on us. And when, in all honesty, it's like they don't want us to continue. It's like it's okay for us to give our 110%, but when we have a health issue and we have a problem, they won't help us when we need them, when we need it. And if you think about it, you can blame us for mismanaging our money, but when you're given a job and you're providing for your family and you're doing the best you can, and because of everything that's skyrocketing, of prices going up, again, this is all government bullshit. Just like the another topic I'm going to get into, gas prices, $6 a gallon, really? I mean, come on. You keep raising the prices of everything, but our checks stay this low, but you keep raising the prices of everything. And then we get to that certain age after working our asses off, and when we need help, you turn your backs on us. Good one. This is the thanks that we get. This is what we get in return for providing and not only helping our families, but helping out your country. What have you done for us? What have you done for anybody? You give us money, money that eventually we're going to have to pay back because of taxes. This is the way. This is the way that you thank us. Come on. Back to the healthcare thing. For those of you that a word of warning. Whether you're mom and dad or you yourself, your wife, spouse, whatever, you're going to get on medical insurance and you're going to be paying for your medical insurance. You're going to be well taken care of, I'll tell you that. Because why? You're paying for it. And I've told the same things to my friends and family. When you get at that certain age where you have to retire and you have to be put on Medicare, I don't know how to say this, but it's a whole new ball game. It's a whole new game changer. Everything that you knew, everything that you had will be gone. Then starts all the co-pays. And the extra money. And being charged for every little thing. Like ambulance rides, rides back and forth to your appointments. They charge you for every goddamn thing, basically. Everything. Unless, of course, you go with another uh, medical policy or a Medicare policy. But even then, it's the same story. Doesn't matter really who you go with. They all find a way to screw you. Once you become a senior citizen, oh folks, you're in for a time of your life. That's when the whole game changer starts. That's when you notice all these little things that they tack on. Somebody told me once that once you get that certain age where your health starts deteriorating at the beginning, because we're dying every day. But somebody once told me that you get at that certain age, they pull that quality of life bullshit. They did that with my dad. Not the other times. Oh no, not when he had the congestive heart failure, not when he had the septic shock, which almost killed him, but when he had the stroke. They pulled that quality of life shit. And I told one of my friends about it. I told him about it, and he says, "You want to know something? You get to that certain age, you get to that certain point where your health is, not so great, even though the other times weren't so great neither. They pull that quality of life shit." And I had to think, where was this caseworker, case manager, all this time when my dad was up at the mountain? Was she on vacation? Were they gone? And it's interesting to know that after my dad passed, about a week later, guess what happened? She calls me on the phone and gives her condolences. How about that one, folks? How about that one for a real kicker in the ass? So, which brings me to other questions. Did they send my dad up there to die? Did they send my dad up there because they knew that I couldn't see him, that I couldn't be with my father at the time? They knew I wasn't driving then. I had a hard time driving. And they knew that I couldn't get up there because I was taking care of my mom, whatnot. It was a lot easier for me to keep an eye on my dad down here. Did they mysteriously do something? I don't believe in conspiracies, but did they do something? They have a talk with uh, his insurance company and policy, Medicare, hence our government, the ones that's supposed to do things for us. Did they have a talk with them and saying, "Oh yeah, just his dad up there," and just kind of like that? See, all these things start coming into my mind. Now, I honestly think that the medical profession themselves, the nurses, the people behind, the people that do the real work, that I really think that they do really try. But all the yellow tape and everything else outside of it, like what happens with Medicare and all that, I really think they don't give a shit. And that is sad. That is really sad. It's like because I can't because I cannot put my finger on it. 1 second, folks. Okay, I'm back. So all these things come up to my mind. All these different topics I'm talking about come to mind. But I don't trust our healthcare. I don't trust our healthcare system at all. I really don't. Do they really care about our senior citizens? Do they really care about the people that built this country? Do they really care? That's my question. I have gained some kind of um, hatred towards my government because of everything that's happened. You can say that I'm wrong for feeling that way, but that's just the way I feel. And I'm not going to go into detail. I'm not going to nitpick that because that's a whole other topic. That's on a whole new level. This topic is about healthcare and how fucked up our system is. For years and years and years, my mom and dad have been trying to get help, and I've been trying to help them. But because they make too much money, Even though by the time they spend down all their money, they're lucky to have $200, $300 in the bank. But yet they're making too much. And because of it, they're not getting the proper health care that they deserve. And still to this day, folks, they want my dad to pay for things. It's unbelievable. I tell them, I says, sorry, my dad isn't here. And they're like, well, someone's got to pay him. I'm like, how do you want me to pay for it? I can't work because I'm taking care of my mom. You can't get my mom a Medi-Cal, so I can't receive in-home nurse. So which means I have to take care of my mom in the home. So how do you want me to physically go out there, get a job, and take care of my mom at the same time? And here's the real kicker. If you do that, I'll have, who are they? Adult Protective Services, which I've had here before, on my ass saying, oh, well, you're not taking care of your loved one, so neglect. Remember, folks, neglect. They know you, which has happened several times because they refuse to help. There was a time when this is on the same topic. This is another healthcare issue. There was a time when they needed my mom and dad to go to the hospital, and I was like, "Look, I'm not driving because I just barely got out of surgery with my eye, and I even had proof. I had documentation to show them, but they didn't want to see that. They didn't want to see it. I had all the documentation. I had the papers and everything that was needed when I had the surgery on my right eye. They wanted me to bring my mom and dad out to the hospital. I says, look, I'm not driving. I can't. I can't drive. If I drive, because I'm supposed to lay face down. When you have detached retina, you're supposed to lay face down. Otherwise, the retina could detach again. And I even told them that. But no, they don't want to listen. They don't want to hear. And in their eyes, it's excuses. Even though that I had documentation and proof to show them. They didn't want to hear it. So I says, I can't do it. I'm sorry. You're going to have to figure out some way for my mom and dad to get out there. So the first thing that said, oh, well, you can take public transportation. I'm like, excuse me? How? My mom and dad could barely walk. They don't have a wheelchair. They don't have a fucking walker. So how is you want them to take public transportation? Are you going to come down here, pick them up and take them to the bus stop? Or are you going to put that on me again? They don't know how to answer. Well, you can call up dial ride. I was like, what good is that? What good is, again, we have the issue of getting my mom and dad out of the house because I don't have a wheelchair. Because remember, they don't pay for anything. That's got to come out of my expenses or my parents' as expenses. They weren't making any money back then. I'm supposed to buy a wheelchair, supposed to buy all this medical stuff, but they're not making any money, and because they couldn't help them. So I was in a bind. I says, look, I can't do it. I'm sorry. They send. I remember this. I go in for a checkup after I barely had surgery, and I even told the caseworker this. I says, look, I got an appointment coming up. I just had surgery. I got to go to my appointment and get my eye checked up. They wanted to come in the house because they want to investigate, aka German Gestapo, excuse me. They wanted to come in the house, that's what they all do. Policy. And I says, okay, that's fine. Let me know so that way I can set up a date and time and whatever, and we can talk. We can sit down and talk. You could talk to my parents, you could talk to me, and it'll be good. So this person knew this. I come home from my appointment. I barely got home, and it was on a summer day. It was like 100 plus degrees. I was hot. I wasn't feeling good. My eye was bothering me. I was in pain. The only thing I cared about was just coming home and going to sleep. It's the only thing I cared about. And somebody comes knocking on my door, pounding on my window, pounding on the door like they're going to knock it down. So at this point, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Coat it. I was pissed. I go running outside, and I said to this person, I says, "What in the hell is your problem?" "Well, we need to come in the house and we need to talk." And I says, "I'm sorry, that's not going to happen right now. I'm not feeling good. I just got done having an appointment. I just got through having surgery. I'm not feeling well. Can we do this another time?" "No, we can't do this another time." And I came back and I says, "Yes, we're going to do it sometime." When you come to my door and you're pounding my window and you're pounding my door, I'm going to take that as a threat, and I don't give a damn what your badge says. I don't care who you are. You don't come running up to my house, pounding on my door, pounding on my window like you're going to break and entering. So I says, "No, it's not going to happen. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm not feeling well." "Well, we're going to have to call the police." And I says, "You go ahead. You call the police. Go for it. Call them. Go ahead. Call the police." So they did. I figured if they're going to make it as hard as me, I'm going to make it hard on them. That's the way I figured. But because, folks, she works for the government and she has a frickin' badge on her shirt that says, "I'm a whatever," she has all the rights. I don't have any. That's the kind of country that I live in, folks. That's the country that I live in, and I have to deal with that shit. Yep, I have to deal with that. So where do you draw the line? Where's our rights? Where's our freedom when in terms of something like this? It's not that I didn't want to take care of them or take them to. I couldn't. I didn't have the ability to. And I explained that to them. I don't have the ability to. So where do you draw the line? When you come to my house and you can become a Gestapo, because that's, excuse me, a legal Gestapo. You come to my house and you can just tell me that I'm neglecting. What about your neglect? What about the years that you couldn't provide healthcare services to my mother and father? What about the years of service that they paid into their insurance policy for what, 30, 35 years? Where's their help when they need it? I can make the same question. You're going to tell me that I neglected? Well, as far as I'm concerned, you neglected both of my parents. So let this be a lesson, folks. The moral of this whole entire stream of this topic is be careful. Take care of your family and your loved ones. Because honestly, there's nobody out there to help. Unless, of course, you go to churches and stuff like that. Because in reality, when you get that certain age, they're going to fuck you off. Unless you're rich. If you're rich, you can have anything you want. But if you're poor, middle class, you're not going to get the help that you deserve. That's the whole moral of this story. Our whole system is fucked up. It needs refurbishment. It needs to be restructured. It needs to be, they need to help people. They help people that need it. Hell, they don't even help our military. I have military friends that are pretty much going through the same thing with their stuff. And it's sad. This is what we pay health care for. This is what we pay health insurance for. Here we pay hundreds of dollars, and yet we have still have to pay for everything. So what's the point of having insurance if you have to pay for everything? The pharmaceuticals make money, food markets make money, supermarkets make money. They sell food products in the stores that are bad for you. Oh, and yes, they are bad. High in cholesterol, high in carbs, high in sugars. And the whole thing is, they know this, folks. They know it. They know that we're going to get sick from this stuff, and they know that we're going to have to come and run into our healthcare profession. And that's where the money comes in, folks. That's where the green dollar signs come in their eyes. That's when they turn green and they all become jolly green giants. Seriously. Because you're nothing but a dollar sign. My dad always said, we're nothing but cattle, waiting to be branded, waiting to be slaughtered in the slaughterhouse. The day that you're born is the day that you die. They know who you are and what you are just by getting your social security number. So they herd you like cattle. They brand you, excuse my French, they brand us on our ass cheeks with a government dollar sign. That's where they put the brand, because later on, that's where we're gonna get fucked. I'm just being, like I said, I'm just being blunt, man. I'm just saying like it is. I'm just telling it like it is. I'm a very straightforward person. I say how I feel because it's true. I've seen it happen with my mom. I've seen it happen with my dad, and I've seen it happen with my friends, and I've seen it happen with my family. So the moral of this story, if there's any positive coming out of it, take care of your family and your loved ones, because that's the only thing that matters. Don't rely on the government. Don't rely ever getting help from them, because they're never going to help. They haven't helped me. They haven't helped my dad. They haven't helped my mom. They haven't helped any of my family and my friends. They end up helping each other. So if there was one thing that I can come out of positive in this whole conversation, this whole stream, is take care of your family, your loved ones. That's what comes first. That's what matters. And like I said, it doesn't matter what race you are, what color you are. We all got the same blood. We all bleed. We all sweat for this country and this nation. And best thing that we could do, I guess, would be to um, more or less, I don't know, pension. Am I saying that right? Um, petition. I'm sorry, not a pension. Petition. Um, make our voices heard. Make the government listen by getting hundreds of thousands of signatures, by posting videos like this, and letting our legislators, our legislation know, our government, our governors. I think that's the best thing that we could do to get the word out. But then again, do they really care? Or is it when we write a message or anything like this, they just, oh, you know what, we heard it all before, throw it away. Because it's the same old story, folks. They got a silver spoon up their ass. They don't care. When it boils down to it, they only care about themselves and their families, which, okay. But for us, it's a whole new ball game, a whole new situation. I mean, if I had the opportunity to um, make it a little bit better, I would, but I don't. I've been trying to find help out there for I don't know how many years. I've been trying to find the answers. I've been asking people. I've been filling out resumes. I've been networking, and still I'm jobless. I'm not getting the help that I want. And the way I see it, if something were to happen to my loved one right now, my mom, I don't know where I'm going to be in the near future. I don't know what's going to happen with me or what's going to become of me. But just remember, and that's a tough thing to deal with. So, anyways, I just wanted to voice my opinion and say and just kind of get the word out there. And not only that, maybe vent a little and say how I really feel because I can't be the only one out there that feels this way. I'm sure there's like thousands of videos, thousands of emails, and in the forums and stuff like that, organizations, help groups, and stuff like that. Please, if you want to make comments below, please do so down below and below the description and whatnot. I am accepting all comments and stuff and suggestions and let me know what happens with you. Let me know if there's somebody out there that's going through the same thing, and let me know what you did or what you have done to kind of help yourself and your family. But please try to keep it, within reason. Please try to keep it. Please be level-headed and be level-minded. Okay? Please. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification icon so when I go notified. There will be more videos, and this was my first touchy topic that I wanted to get across because of the recent events that happened with my father, and um, I just wanted to throw this out there. I may get views, I may not get views, I may get thumbs down, I may get thumbs up, but it is what it is. And you're hearing it from the horse's mouth because when I talk, I don't talk, excuse my French again, I don't talk bullshit. I say it like it is, I tell it like it is. And I am open for comments, I am open for ideas and suggestions, but please bear in mind that just keep it within reason. Okay? Anyways, folks, it's almost 10:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here in the lovely California. Um, be on the lookout. I'm going to be posting another video coming soon on gas prices here in California. And I'm going to have a little talk show about that. Remember, viewer discretion is advised. If you don't want your kids to see this, please, keep them out or keep them away from the video. Uh, there is parts that are explicit, and just to be on the safe side, if you don't wish your family or your loved ones not to hear it, and you want to hear it yourself, and you don't want them around, please be advised that viewer discretion is advised. Okay. All right, folks. Thank you for watching this stream. I really do appreciate it. I do have positive videos on this channel and on my Twitch channel, which is my gaming channel, and I am going to post more positive vibe videos. But I felt that this one was very important to me, and I had a passion to do it, and I'm kind of glad I got it out there. Whether you want to watch it, like, not dislike, doesn't matter. This is long as I got it done. All right, folks. Have a lovely rest of your evening, night, uh, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And remember, take care of each other and especially take care of your family. All right? Take care. Love you all. Peace out.